The title is Develop Nutritious and Colorful Eating Habits During and After Breast Cancer Treatment. And I will now turn the program over to our presenters.
Hello, good evening. Can everyone see me good? Us good?
Yes.
Okay, great. So again, thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Ms. Colin, and everyone and all your colleagues. My name is Dr. Mercedes, and I'm here with my partner,
Chef Phil.
Chef Phil. So what we're about to do, like as presented, was display easy, healthy options just to make sure you're having a colorful plate and being mindful that eating nutritious can be easy, fun, and delicious at the same time. So you could present. Next slide. Hello? Okay. Okay. So this is in memory of my mother on the left, Janet Callender. You know, she was a hairdresser. We're originally from Ancestry Barbados. Phil is from Barbados. But my great grandmother left Barbados and went up to Queens. And my grandmother was born in Brooklyn. But my mother, the one with the short haircut, she was a hairdresser in East Elmhurst. So hearing everyone speak about where they're from in New York is like a mini reunion, and I miss New York dearly. But we're here in Florida, and we are basically a health education cooking class. I'm a pharmacist, Phil is a chef, and what we do is discuss healthy education. So we discuss chronic diseases, so blood pressure, sugar levels, cholesterol, and we incorporate that with a healthy meal option, virtually or in person, and making sure that is as economical as possible. So we, now with the rising price of value meals, we were at Chick-fil-A and one meal was $10 already. So what we try to do before at the time was $10 or less, but because of inflation and whatnot, we try to make meals that could feed a family of four or a household of four for less than $20. So that's what we're about to display today. And my grandmother on the side. So my mom, unfortunately, she passed away January 2018 from breast cancer. But this is in memory of her. That is a reason why we did this program. She had breast cancer in 2008. 10 years later, she did a mastectomy, doing the medication. And then in the last 10 years afterwards, this was in 2017, we found out her breast cancer metastasized to her brain and spine, and finding out she had 4 months to live. So, you know, at that time, I found out I was pregnant with my first child, her first grandchild, and in her last days, she was in hospice care, and she told my husband, this gift of cooking, don't keep just within the family, spread. So basically, we came about this whole program, Healthy 5 Loaves and 2 Fish Healthy Teaching Kitchen, just based on the biblical story, just making sure that we're sharing our gifts to others. So, you know, a week after my mom's passing, my grandmother had a stroke in front of me because of the grief of losing her only daughter. So that was February 6th. So this time of the year, you know, but nowhere, no place in the world would I rather be spending my time honoring their memory, but before you. So thank you for hosting us. So next slide. So again, I'm a pharmacist. I do want to talk about, I let Phil share the screen.
Okay. And like Mercedes was saying, you know, my background is pretty much accounting, and you know, having a one-on-one conversation with my mother-in-law, you know, being that both of us took a year off from work, you know, it totally resonates with us. And you know, before she passed, she said, you know, you cook really nice. You know, why not? Have you ever thought of becoming a chef? You know, and taking that into consideration, I went out into the field, not knowing anything about culinary commercially, cooking commercially. Started working at Universal, and rest is history from there. It's just, applying the skill and the practice and the techniques I've learned throughout my journeys. And now I'm here to be here, this wonderful meal for you today.
So what we do is, again, our ancestry being from the Caribbean, we do outreach programs, but living in Central Florida, we go to different populations, we go to community centers, the senior living residents, schools, churches, anywhere, health fairs. We just want to share as much information and practical use as possible to the masses. So next slide. Yeah, so again, we do in-person virtual classes. We do cooking classes for youth all the way up to adult, meal prep, employee engagement, and everything else in between. And also for diabetes, or, just if you want to make sure how to get your lab values in range, we have posted diabetes prevention program as well. Next slide. So healthy eating habits are essential to both during and after cancer treatment, or as a whole. So we're making sure that we're showing you how to eat a colorful plate. The goal is to make sure you have a colorful plate. When your plate is as colorful as possible, you're getting all the necessary vitamins, minerals, nutrients that your body needs, especially, with the change in season. The colorful plate helps with your immune system, keeps your vigor, your energy levels up, especially. So next slide. So our goal is you want to make sure that you eat at least 5 fruits and vegetables a day. So anything that you see on your screen is helpful. Anything that what I like is doing juices. So with this, I have the juicer in front of me, so I incorporate fruits, vegetables. So what I'm going to show now is apple, beet, carrot, and cucumber juice. And also use some of the carrot juice, and Bill's going to incorporate that into one of his dishes. So next slide. So again, the colors that you see, making sure that your plate is as colorful as possible, the colors of the rainbow, and its correlation. So as far as red, lycopene, it has its own necessary health benefits. Green, fruits and vegetables, helps with immunity, it can help prevent, cancer as well. Fiber is included in the fruits and vegetables to keep you fuller longer. It doesn't spike your blood sugar as much. And then as far as, well, I can make it interactive, just a poll as well. Do you have a colorful plate, or do you make sure that you're mindful of having a colorful plate? You can put that in the chat and then we can go over it at the end. Okay, and next slide. Okay, so this is a couple of my favorite things. So pickles, if anyone is Haitian or of ancestry in the chat, basically, you can do it any which way. I'm just doing it one particular way. So basically it's shredded cabbage, shredded carrots. You can do other vegetables, bell peppers, vinegar, salt, clove. People put other ingredients into it, but basically it's a pickling. So you could do allspice. I'll come closer to the thing. You can see it? Does everyone see it?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have it in the fridge, and it's a nice condiment to rice and peas. You could use it as a marinade and such. Again, it's vinegar and salt. That is what pickles the item, and then you could just leave it in your fridge, and then you have a nice topper for any meal that you have. Another thing is, if you have peppers, Scotch bonnet peppers, it adds like a nice spicy kick to it. And then another thing is Israeli or Ethiopian. Another thing is, when we prepare these classes and we speak to different participants throughout the world, you realize through spice and just certain ingredients, something that would be called in, say, Bill's country is another name in another country on the other side of the world, and it's similar ingredients as well. So initially we saw it as Israeli, but by further investigation, Ethiopian. So basically it's diced cucumbers, tomatoes. You could add lime if you want as well. And then also add salt, pepper, whatever flavoring. It's very forgiving. Olive oil, anything you like. And then my favorite is doing juices. So it's like fruits and vegetables, like I mentioned before. And then I add that to, say, a liter of water. So instead of just drinking plain water, you could add that to your water, and it just gives it an extra flavor. So what I'm going to do right now is, so what we're going to do is apple, ginger, carrot, cucumber, and then beet. So as you see, it's colorful already. Yeah. And then also Phil needs carrots for his item, so we're gonna do that as well. So in Barbados, we didn't have access to a juicer, but we used a blender. You just add water to sufficient, and then you just strain it. So you don't need to have this high-tech, expensive juicer. You can use a blender, or and strain it to soup. So some people juice the beet with the leaves as well. You can do that if you choose. You can add more if you want afterwards, but again, when I make the juices, I make sure that I have ice. So as soon as you pour it, it's chilled, and that helps with the palatability of it too. Okay. So after that, I'm gonna take it over. Go to take over. Get the next slide.
Thank you. Okay, everyone. So, today, it's pretty much, after you've come home from chemo, and I know that, sometimes you may not have the energy to even, make a meal and everything like that, or you may have forgotten, or you may not have had the time to go shopping for, stuff that you can, for. So you come home and you'll be like, what's in the kitchen? What's something you can make? So we have like frozen cauliflower here. And we just made it into some nice lettuce and everything like that, pre-seasoned with pepper and turmeric and curry. And we're gonna now put this in the air fryer to pretty much roast, and give you like that nice charcoal, not charred flavor, roasted flavor. So it's gonna be like a nut kind of flavor on your mashed cauliflower. So for my chicken here, I had it marinated in some salt, sugar, lime juice, and some pickling seeds, which is cumin, coriander seeds, a little bit of cinnamon and basil in this. Okay, so I'm gonna drain this water here. So all depends on what flavors you're looking for to get from your chicken, or what type of flavor you're looking to achieve on your ending meal. So what I did was to take off the skin, take off the bristle part here, and then just do like a lollipop kind of looking chicken. And I know there's a menu or recipe that has been preset. You can go ahead and just follow that recipe if you want to. I'm doing it this way here so I can show you there are other methods and other ways of doing, a dish, making it look classy, sophisticated, but still, yeah, some of that can be filled. And like Dr. said, it's like, the whole point of it is like what I have to plate as colorful as possible, where you're putting knocking all of that nutrition that was taken out during the chemo. So now I'm gonna put this in the oven for 25 minutes. Roast for 25 minutes, 350 degrees for 25 minutes. So the cauliflower and the chicken is inside of the air fryer oven kind of thing. So the cauliflower is there for 15, 20 minutes. The chicken is there for pre-cooking at 25 minutes. So now we're not gonna add the other stuff. We're not gonna make your other stuff fuller to complement this dish. So in the meantime, I'm gonna get my carrot juice. And this is a mixture here of salt, cumin, clove, cinnamon, and allspice. I'm gonna allow this to just simmer and reduce. And this is not gonna create the actual sauce to color your dish. So if you see what I'm having here, because of the cornstarch is now thickened, to a texture that I'm looking for. And that's just from the carrot juice. In the meantime here, I'm gonna have some broccoli that I've actually pre-cooked. So the broccoli has been pre-cooked in some hot water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of baking soda, and now I'm just gonna now reheat or get it now to cook temperature. Okay. Nice hot skillet.
Shrink. Shrink.
Now with broccoli, make sure there's no water on it, okay? All right, so you're gonna have that nice. You're gonna have a spill of oil and water.
If everyone in the chat, we have like a wellhead camera and you can see what's going on.
Pepper. While this is cooking, in another pan, I'm gonna have it where I add some milk. Now, if you look at the recipe on the roasted cauliflower dish, you're gonna have pretty much almond milk, and that's the milk I break down with work. Depending on the occasion and also the condition, especially coming off of chemotherapy. But if almond milk is not available to you or it's not affordable, then you can use regular milk or milk of your choice.
I'm wearing my headphones so that I can.
Now this is just the milk and some butter. This is gonna come in at a later date, later time, actually. When now we're doing the mash for the cauliflower, or we just waiting for the cauliflower to finish in the oven, and we're gonna add this to your cauliflower mash. So broccoli is finished. And then we want to ask, like, what's some of the things that you would normally cook at home in the chat while we're waiting for the rest of the team to come together.
Any questions or comments you can put in the chat to make it like a lively discussion at the end.
So we are just waiting for the cauliflower and the chicken to pretty much assemble. We have our milk and the butter here. I'm gonna turn this, lower the temperature of this. And we can now have a lively conversation while we wait for the rest of the food to cook.
Any, as an intermission, any questions, comments?
There's a question I see that came in that says, how much of each fruit and veggie did you put in the blender?
Let's see. It was the beet, carrot, cucumber, apple, ginger. You could do lime, so that would have been 6. So 5 so far. Yeah.
How much of each?
Say it again.
How much of each?
It's again, juicing is very forgiving. If your goal, you don't want to make it too sweet, because again, once the difference between, you know, using a blender or a juicer, it's a juicer strips all the fibers. So in this container, you'll see the fragment fibers, and that helps prevent, well, you want to keep the fiber too, because the fiber helps slow the absorption of the sugar. So that's why I say you could do a juice, but if you do a juice, you want to make sure that you're using vegetables, because vegetables are low in sugar content. You don't want to juice a pineapple, you know, apples, because those have high sugar content in it, and then you absorb all of that at once. So to help slow down the absorption of sugar, we use carrot, cucumber, those items have low sugar content. Any other questions so far? No? Okay.
I see Brenda's hand is up. Brenda, if you want to come off mute and ask your question, feel free. Or put it in the chat and we'll read it for you.
Okay, good evening. First of all, everything looks good so far, but what if you added to the juicing? I know a lot of people use kale.
Yeah.
Would
That's
that,
You could do that too. Again, you just put the whole thing in. You can take the spine out if you want, or you can incorporate the spine. Again, like I mentioned, I'll do the below. You see, you could use the leaves this as well. It's just your personal preference. So you
oh,
can
okay.
lettuce. Sometimes we use purple cabbage, we use green cabbage. But if you want sweet, you could add an apple to it, you know? So you could have a juice that's predominantly vegetables, but if you wanted a sweet component to it, you could add an apple or any other type of fruit. And then as far as like a kick, you could add the ginger, a lime, or lemon. Those are nice additions as well.
Oh, sounds good. Okay,
Yes, and
thank
yes,
you.
in terms of kale, yes, you can use kale, you can use spinach, and then that juice now, if you want it to be like an all green juice, you can do kale, spinach, some apple, some honeydew melon, honeydew melon, and that would add a little sweet taste to it, or offset the bitterness of the kale. And just add some water to that. You can have that green juice. You can have what Mercedes did here. You can also do like an orange and ginger juice. So depending on what you have accessible to you and what you have in your house. So we're not saying you need to stick to this particular juice here, but it's like where you can make a variety of juices, and then the juices. What's the lifespan on the juice?
Ideally 24 hours, because again, it doesn't have any preservatives in there. So just to minimize your chance of acquiring any foodborne illness in it, you just want to consume it within 24 hours. And if you're not gonna drink it immediately, refrigerate it.
Yeah.
And
Let
also,
everything set in. Mhm.
but then also adding to that, if you know you're not going to use it, say throughout the whole entire day, now you can convert this juice into, like I did, convert it into sauce. You can convert it into vinaigrette, and that can go onto your salads as well as as part of the juice as well.
So a quick, how do you make a vinaigrette though?
So to make the vinaigrette, is classical method is 1 part vinegar and 1 part oil. Okay, and then you can add the juice to it. Being depending on the juice, if it already has the citrus inside of it, you can now add that now to the vinegar and the oil, and you blend it, and then you can season salt, pepper. You can add some basil to it, some cilantro to it, depending on what type of vinaigrette flavor or what salad you have to go with your meal.
Yeah, because one of the main things is what we do is to show healthy meals just to get away from food additives and preservatives. I was reading one of the articles on Very Well Health and like WebMD, and they were just talking about the processed foods and those ingredients. Like if there's more than like 5 ingredients, and the longer you read on that list and it gets harder and harder to pronounce those food additives, people try their hardest to be healthy or eat healthy, but it could be the food additives that's affecting their goals. So some of these food additives affect cholesterol levels, sugar levels, and whatnot. So especially like salad dressing. So Phil just showed how to make an easy, inexpensive dressing so you don't have to go out and consume those products that have the additional additives into it.
Mm, very good.
Thanks.
Real quickly before I lose you, what type of oil is it? Like olive oil is the best, or any
Yeah, I
other?
use olive oil, cooking and preparing. Phil will get into the culinary side of it, but as far
Okay.
as olive oil, especially say you're sauteing or frying, you want to use oils that have a high smoke point. So say you put the oil in and it already starts burning,
Mhm.
especially oils such as sunflower oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. Yes, in some, it's inexpensive at the time. Some of these oils can be expensive. So depending on the type of olive oil that you get. But when you have oils such as canola, sunflower oil, those oils are created into an oil by a chemical process. So you're consuming those chemicals that would not have been there necessarily if you had the olive oil, which is an oil when pressed.
Oh,
So
okay.
ideally you want to use, if you're consuming these oils, healthy oils, because again, it can tolerate a high smoke point. Coconut oil is good as well. And again, sesame seed oil. But again, with the oils, the sunflower, canola oil, those oils are chemically extracted to make it an oil. So if anyone in the chat has heard about radicals or free radicals go throughout your body and could affect your healthy cells and could make them cancerous. So even though you're at a barbecue and like a charred hot dog tastes nice. Ideally, it's not the best thing because the char on the hot dog when consumed, could create free radicals and disrupt the healthy processes of your body. So that's why we stress and show healthy ways of consuming food without the additional additives, and that's health benefit.
Now going into the olive oil section of it. Now, in terms of the olive oils, I know you see there's extra virgin olive oil and then there's regular olive oil. Now, the extra virgin olive oil is more on the expensive side. So you want to actually store that oil, keep that oil more for your salads or anything that where you just using the oil on the dish of itself. Whereas the regular olive oil is not one that you can actually add to heat or where you're cooking, like say an egg or something like that. It's like how we can use regular olive oil as opposed to extra virgin olive oil. Now checking on our cauliflower. Come along. Come along. In about next 3 minutes or so, I'll take cauliflower out, put it in the blender, then put it back on the stove, add the milk and butter to it, add the seasonings, bring it together as a nice little dish here. While waiting for the chicken as well. So the chicken I'm gonna take the chicken out. Now I know the question is why I didn't season the meat. I only wanted to pre-cook the meat in the event that you say you come home, you take some meat out of the freezer and it's too much meat and you don't want to say cook everything all at once or what's not. So you're pre-cooking the meat, the chicken legs, and you take out how much you want for that particular meal, and then say for the next day you want to do a different flavor or different dish. Have meat that's already pre-cooked. Meat that's already pre-cooked, store it in the fridge, just reheat it and then season it to your choice.
Video like this, kitchen video. But look at their kitchen. I know, but our kitchen is amazing.
You're being recorded. Everybody who's commenting now in your kitchen, you're being recorded.
Now here we have our cauliflower that has been nicely roasted. So you see that color and that's so it's nicely roasted. I would have left it a little longer in the oven, but it been pressed for time, kind of. So I'm just looking now for a nice soft and texture, pretty much ready, cooked, you can say.
Again, a nice thing, like depending where you are, so say like places like Walmart, they have a lot more vegetables that are pre-cut and frozen. So this was cauliflower that was frozen. So you could make mashed cauliflower from the frozen prep. Not everyone has all day to dice, fruits and vegetables. So they have diced carrots, broccoli, anything. So that's what we're using right now.
Now, in a case like this where you're putting food in the blender, you want to have the cap open to prevent any injuries. The reason why is that the pressure is going to build up in your blender, and then when you try to take it off, it can actually, explode something in some form. This pretty much is food processor conversion, so it just and after every couple of strokes, what you do is try to press it down. gonna add some more cauliflower to this. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to go, I'm gonna put some corn in the oven.
Any questions again, you can put in the chat.
Now, depending on how you, well, let's go back to the classic. Depending on how you like your mashed potatoes, some might like it chunky, some might like it low, smooth, and what's not. It's the same thing with the cauliflower. So depending on how you do like your mash, you're gonna have it. You can have it chunky, or you can have it smooth. Excuse me a minute.
And I do see a comment that was in the chat that I want to mention. Someone said, I have many restrictions about what I eat due to things like kidney stones, for example, no turmeric powder, but maybe turmeric extract, also no soy. I'm vegan, certain fruits are fine, but some vegetables are too high oxalate, example, no mere almonds or almond milk, too high oxalate. I try to keep my food very simple as a result. I also suffer from GERD symptoms, and I can't deal with too much acidity, like too much vinegar. And so someone who has these dietary restrictions, are there any food examples that you would give for somebody who maybe suffers from GERD or any of the other symptoms that were mentioned?
Yes. In a case like that, that's pretty much like where you're dealing with allergens and pretty much foods that the client or the guest would not be able to eat. So that would have to be like, say, a one-on-one conversation with either the chef or a dietitian or nutritionist, so that we can actually zero in on what the person can eat. So now we can have a list of their tolerances, and then we work with them to create like a meal plan for that person.
Again, so again, like I know some people, if they have, there's certain stages of kidney failure. So certain fruits and vegetables, foods as a whole, they can't consume. So again, we're just showing you healthy meals. Again, every patient, every person is particular. Your provider may want you to say consume those, because again, the vitamins or minerals that are in it, like a benefit for it, but they may want you to reduce your consumption of it. So sometimes potassium levels could be a key, but again, specifically to your condition and your provider, your doctor or provider may want you to have a reduced amount of it. Okay, but again, the goal is to have your plate as colorful as possible. They may say, eat less of a particular food group, but you don't want to eliminate any, like a particular food group, because of its benefit for the overall health of your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. I also saw another comment come in when you were asking about what people like to eat, and someone wrote that they love a colorful plate, mixed peppers, greens, collard, mustard, turnip greens, as well as cabbage and kale, and a nice salad. So those were some things what one individual mentioned when you asked.
And again, like I mentioned before, the pikli, so basically, or kimchi in the Korean culture, but basically it's a pickled vegetable or a spiced coleslaw. That's basically what it is.
And being that you asked that question, we were actually experimenting here in the kitchen with different variations of pickle. So then if it is that you can't use, regular vinegar, you can use lime juice, lemon
Right.
juice,
Apple cider vinegar.
apple cider vinegar. You can also use mirin, which is a nice Asian blend. It's sweet. It's a sweet vinegar. And you can have a Swedish kind of pickle going on there. You can also use what else is this?
That's basically any type of acid of your choice, because that helps the pickling process of it. Mhm.
Now this is pretty much where the chicken is pre-cooked. Okay. So now with this here, we're gonna probably use about say 2 pieces for now, and this one can go in the fridge or in the freezer and just ready reheat when you're ready to use. Okay. Yeah.
And we have the above head camera so you can see.
So a little bit of oil, lime or lemon zest, and this is a little mixture of the seasonings. I believe in the recipe it has a list of the seasonings that I'm using here. So I'm using my house blend, which is a combination of Italian seasonings. You have some chili, some paprika, garlic, and some other seasonings here. So this is now going to go back into the oven, and you'll see this nice crust here onto the chicken. And this is going to go for about 15 minutes or so. Okay, so chicken back in the oven, and we're now cooking with yes. Okay. That's it. Thank you. Now this is the consistency here. If you can see what I'm looking for in terms of that mashed cauliflower. Okay. Back on the stove now.
We need an overhead camera like Rachel Ray so we can see inside the bowl. Just a little levity.
So that's the cauliflower. We're gonna add some of the milk and the butter. And then a mixture of garlic and onion. Now this is if you do not have fresh onion and garlic available to you. So we're just seasoning the cauliflower. Now, in some cases, this can be served like this. In some cases, this can be served like this, or if you want, you put it in a nice process, put a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top, or some panko breadcrumbs in the oven, and you have like a where now you can take out the moisture content of it and have a stiffer mash. So we just want to know let this simmer for a little bit. Check it out, check it. Now what I'm doing here is pretty much now making my presentation flipped. Now say you have friends and family coming over, a ramekin. You position that nicely in the center. A little bit of arugula going on here. This is the bed now for the chicken. Some broccoli. Added some broccoli. Excuse me. You know, and add some corn to this. And we're now just waiting for the chicken to go on this.
And you could put, if you wanted like your chicken with a color to it, you could pan sear it and then bake it in the oven as well, so.
And then as Mercedes was saying earlier, we're gonna now garnish this with some, pickles, pickled cabbage. And of course, you can't forget the sauce.
The pickles is red because at the time we had the purple cabbage in there.
And there you have it.
You have different camera angles of it. So again, a colorful plate, you have the different food groups, and inexpensive. This was under $20. We had the frozen cauliflower that we use, chicken, if you were to get the chicken on sale, frozen corn, arugula, and then frozen broccoli as well, and then the carrot as well. So that's that.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. So again, as a recap, it's the main dish, the juice, and then if you wanted just a simple diced salad on the side with choice vinaigrette or dressing.
So you'll just move this to the side. And give you a better idea of the presentation. So with this, you now have a juice, a starter, which is your salad, and your main. And you have a complete meal.
Looks very good, very appetizing.
So in the next section, I was not, Mercedes will probably do the dessert.
Yeah, I do desserts. Yeah, that's right. All right, I just opened the floor up. Thanks, Glenn and Miss Poland and her colleagues.
Yeah, that looks great. And there's definitely some comments in the chat saying that it looks good and excellent. So thank you for showing us how to do that. It all looks really, really great. And
Yes, it
it's great to
does.
know that it's healthy and budget friendly.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So as far as the juicing though, you could do that as a quick, in addition to the meal, because usually the juicing takes a lot of the fiber out. So would that be not advised as a regular practice? Because I know some people believe heavily in juicing as a way to supplement their health, but what if you're diabetic or what if you're sugar sensitive? Maybe you could comment on that. Thanks.
And that's what I was mentioning before. If you are gonna juice, I'll open this, have a demonstration. If you were to juice, you see everything that's left back, right? So this is the fiber, the mulch of the fruits and vegetables. So this doesn't go to waste. If you wanted to, you could put this in the oven, dehydrate it, and then you could add it as a topper to meals. Again, if you're gonna juice, it's not advisable to juice sweet or fruits that are high in sugar content. So like a pineapple, you wouldn't normally eat a whole pineapple in one sitting. So again, that's why juicing a whole pineapple or drinking a whole cup of pineapple juice straight is not advisable, because you're going to get that full absorption of the pineapple and the sugar into your bloodstream. So to help slow down the absorption of the sugar into your bloodstream, that's why I incorporated vegetables or fruits that are low in sugar content. So the carrots, the cucumbers, the beets, depending, that could help. Those are items that have a low sugar content, and that will help slow down the absorption of the sugar in your body. But another thing is, there's two types of fibers, soluble and insoluble fibers. So this is insoluble fiber, but there is fiber in the juice. Even though I extracted most of the mulch from it, there is fiber in this juice. And again, like I mentioned before, you could drink it like this, or you could add it to, say, a liter of water, just to help flavor the water as well.
And if I can add to what Mercedes is saying, are coming into the kitchen side aspect of it. Answering that question, this is a great question, by the way. Like for example, we did the carrot first, so the residue that's back from the carrot, now that can go and make into a carrot cake. For example, the pineapple. You can use that residue and that can be the shavings for upside down pineapple cake. Like Mercedes was saying, this part here, it can actually be dehydrated, and then the dust, you can now use it inside of added to flour, and that can now be, say, a crust for your chicken or for your meats or whatever. So, and it also can go in your seasoning. So now, like when your friends come over, you can say, "Oh, you want to try some beet salt?" Now you have that dust. You add some salt to it. You have some beet salt.
So nothing goes to waste.
Yeah, I
I
really
know-
like that. I
I
really,
noticed you use the cauliflower flowerets. After it's done, does it have the consistency of mashed potatoes or is it a little more like cauliflower? Because I can't tell from the picture.
Well, we have some left back there. We can put it on the camera for you. But like I was saying, depending on the consistency you're looking for, it can actually go chunky, or you have bits and pieces inside of it, or you can have it to now where it's just like a smooth, creamy. It's like going towards more of a bisque where it's thick, and then you can use
I have the above head camera, but again, like Phil was mentioning, you could blend it to where it has a consistency of mashed potatoes. So you could blend it to suit, add a little bit of water to help blend it up, not too much, a little bit of water just to get the blender going. And then you could put it in a strainer. You could put in a strainer, put in the strainer, and that will help finalize the cauliflower to make it like the consistency of a mashed potato.
or you can add it to when you're finished, like seasoning and everything like that, Paris dish, and into the oven, and then the oven will now extract out that moisture, and then it'll be more applicable to what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Could you use the cauliflower, put egg in it and make it as a pancake, or can you use it as, instead of using flour, you can use the cauliflower, like like the potatoes, you make potato pancakes. Can you use the cauliflower like that?
Yeah, that's a lovely question as well. So pretty much we're substituting the cauliflower for the potato. So whatever apparatus you want to use now, the potatoes, it'll be like a hash brown. So you can now use the cauliflower, the rice cauliflower, but now more to what you're looking for. And you just add probably an egg or some of that now to bring it together. And then you can now make a patty or like hash browns, cauliflower hash browns if you want to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Or you can bread it. You can bread it in some cornstarch or some flour. And now you have cauliflower poppers, kind of. So when you fry it, you have cauliflower poppers.
Phil, in the previous class that we did with Share, Phil made a chicken rizzoli. So basically, it's like a chicken patty or a chicken nugget. So with that was shredded cabbage, shredded carrots, minced chicken, or what was it?
Wow.
Any type of meat that you choose, your choice flour. So you can use almond flour. In the Caribbean, they have cassava. So cassava flour, all-purpose flour, and basically you're using the shredded cabbage or your choice vegetable to help bulk up that particular item. And we did it with one of the schools in Barbados, and the children didn't even realize that shredded cabbage and carrots were in their chicken nuggets.
Right.
So,
And then to add what Mercedes was saying, for the vegetarian option, you can now also use soy chunks or tofu.
Tofu. Mm-hmm. No tofu for me.
Looks like there was another question that came in that asked, is organic chicken, Whole Foods, or Fresh Direct better than Purdue chicken from the grocery store, for example?
like still growing up in Barbados, I'm from Queens. So Phil's seen it all. He raised chickens and whatnot. So in Barbados, the chicken leg is like a little piece of chicken, you know? So he's like, that is how chickens naturally are, you know? So again, ideally, if you can get a free range or you can go to a butcher and, you know, depending on your accessibility, because I know in Jackson Heights and Corona, they had where those live poultry places, but you just want to make sure that they're feeding the meat that you're consuming, you know, healthy, conscious food, because the food that they're feeding the animals is what you're consuming too. So ideally, if you can get straight from the source, you know.
What about halal?
Exactly. So like I was mentioning before, like in Corona, Jackson Heights, I remember they had a lot of poultry places, or even taking a drive out to the island. You know, I haven't been back, and now being in Florida, anything under 70 or cold, it feels like I thought you're from New York, but you know, I haven't been back like in 2 years, and plus with COVID. But you're correct, like halal, like the live poultry places, just trying to go away from like the
Commercial.
yeah, the commercial or the brands that you see televised, because again, they're in the business for consumer and to sell the product. So how long does a chicken take to?
We will not get into that. But to answer the question and to continue on what Mercedes was saying, you know, it all depends on your budget and how much are you willing to spend on regular chicken that you would get in the supermarket as opposed to in Walmart, or if you want to now go to your butcher and get, you know, pasture raised chicken or and so on. So, you know, growing up in the Caribbean, I raised chickens myself, so I know what chickens look like, you know, the lifespan of them when we raised them and what's not. So, you know, raising chickens, we had our own farm. And like Mercedes was saying, the bigger companies, they're more focused on quantity as opposed to quality. So pretty much, you know, if a chicken goes for say 6 weeks roughly, now they're going to cut it down into 3 to 4 weeks. So now it's going to be pretty much, all right, we need this chicken in the next 3 weeks. What are we going to feed this chicken to get it to, you know, production? Whereas the halal and the other producers, you know, time is of the essence, and they're more focused with quality as opposed to quantity. So now, you know, time is of the essence. So now, in terms of the turnover for chicken, you know, they'll have the time, but then at the same point in time, the cost of that chicken may be a little higher than the regular Purdue chicken. And if that answers your question.
But you do taste a difference in the meat. So it just depends, you know, people like spending, like say again, this juicer, it's expensive, Phil got it on sale, but what do you put your money or your costs in? Again, you saw how fast it juiced a carrot and all of this. You know, if there's going to be certain appliances that'll make your consumption of eating healthy easier, you know, it's worth the investment in your health, you know. So.
Thank you.
It looks like there was another comment that said, thank you for explaining how to dehydrate the vegetable pulp so that you can keep the fiber and nothing goes to waste. Yeah, I think it's pretty incredible that you guys made the meal and really had like no food waste there. So I think that's great, and so do other people.
Thank you. So, like you were saying, it's pretty much, you know, you're playing with the sensory glands here. So if it looks appealing to the eyes, then obviously, you know, most people are going to eat it. If it smells really, you know, like delicious, then also people will eat. So like I said, you have chicken left over now for tomorrow, and it's now up to you what you want to do with that tomorrow. So tomorrow, if you want to cook some rice, you know, have chicken available too. If you want to do some fries, you have chicken available that you can now prepare with your chicken.
Yeah, that sounds very good, very good.
If there are any other questions, feel free to come off mute and ask them or put them in the chat and we'll read them.
How is the ginger prepared for the juice? Is it the ginger that you have to cut up yourself, or is it like the powder?
Preferably, you want to go as natural as possible. So if you have fresh ginger available to you, with the juicer, you can leave the skin on, or you can take the skin off, depending on your preference. But preferably you want to go as natural as possible. But if you do not have ginger available to you or as accessible to you, you can also use the powder. So where you would now blend the orange and say orange juice, and then add some powdered ginger to it. You still have the same orange ginger juice, but then in terms of the taste of it.
Well, only because like what Phil was mentioning, like with the ginger, if you were to have the powder or certain things, they have like anti-caking properties or components added into, yeah, anyone have like seasonings that they have in their cupboard, and then over a while it becomes hard and you have to shake it to loosen it up. So like with that, you want to avoid those chemicals that you're consuming. So that's why we do everything as whole as possible. So again, like I said, if you know that it doesn't have to be expensive as a juicer or a blender or whatnot, but certain like what's that? My favorite thing, I remember my grandmother, she had this, you know? If there's certain, does anyone remember? Yes, no, raise hand.
Yay.
Say it again?
I remember
It's an
that.
egg beater.
Yes, you know?
My mother beat eggs with that or made batter with that.
Yes, it's my favorite. So again, it doesn't have to be, and you know.
And I didn't know if they still made those things.
I know. We're in Florida, so I saw it in public. I'm like, I have to get one, you know?
Oh yeah, I have one.
Or like dollar store, you know?
Yeah, I have one. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Those are my tools.
You know, you could grade it to suit, you know, this was $1, you know, doesn't have to be expensive, these high dollar items. Just anything that could help your consumption of healthy meals, whole meals is worth it.
And so this antiquing or
Well, ginger and beets go a long way. You know, little goes a long way. So if you're making the drinks, you have to kind of do it to taste. Otherwise, it'll overpower the drink.
Yeah, and that's why, again, we added the apple, so it gives it a little bit of sweetness. Again, this is concentrate, so you could divide this amongst 4 cups, add water, you know. It's very forgiving, you know? So.
And beets are also good for high blood pressure.
Exactly. So beets help dilate your blood vessels.
Right.
Yeah, so again, when Phil bought me the juicer, this was my birthday, December time. So, you know, sometimes people have a ritual, like they'll just make a cup of coffee and they don't even know why they're making it. It's just that I start the morning with coffee or whatnot. Even like starting using the juicer, I even think about coffee. And the thing is, it's not just eating healthy or whatnot. It's a holistic thing, you know, doing talk therapy, especially, you know, with my mom, she didn't want to share certain things because she didn't want to upset the family. But if she had a certain resource or a community setting or community group, like exactly what this is, you realize you're not alone. And then again, when we do these programs, it's not like what we say you got to do, we learn from one another, you know, and we learn different tips and ideas from from everyone. And again, that's just what we do.
Yeah, and going back to the question where in terms of how much beet, ginger, and what's not, our daughter drinks this, you know, naturally as it is. But then if you have kids and they saw you prepare it and they do not say want to drink it, Now, being it's red in color, you can now add it to some cranberry juice, and you can add it to some cranberry juice, and though that would dilute but disguise the whole beet inside of it.
Yeah, so like in the Caribbean or, wherever, they have sorrel. So it's color like beets. So she loves sorrel. And we added mainly it was more beets than sorrel. And she loved it. And again, like for me with the juicer, it's just like a Zen moment because I just think, what different combinations am I gonna do? One time, like someone mentioned in the chat, I used kale, apple, lemon, ginger, and you just pairing these different items and you just juice it just to see what it'll taste like. And for me, it was just so relaxing. So when we go to Barbados, somehow this is going with me. So
Let me just ask you, how does sorrel taste? I've never heard of it. And I know it's from the Barbados, but what does it have, a sweet taste, a sour taste, or what's the taste?
well, each country, upon further research, it may be, from the diaspora. So in the African continent region, sorrel. So it's like, they call it hibiscus. It looks like a red flower that you dry, boil it. You could add, depending on the island, some people add, I'll let him finish, but some people add cloves, cinnamon sticks, star anise or anise, depending how you pronounce it. Go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
Okay. Depending on the region and depending on your level of sugar. Yes, so depending on those couple of things and how you like your sorrel, most times you get it as a concentrate, and it's like where you can add water to it. So I don't know if you've had the pomegranate juice in that funny looking bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar in taste to that. So, when you think sorrel and now the pomegranate juice, it's like similar in comparison.
Like a say like cranberry cocktail or cranberry concentrate. Similar, but not like that.
Well, now that Mercedes mentioned it, if you pair the pomegranate juice and a little bit of cranberry, and you play with those, testing it, you'll probably come up with the sorrel flavor.
So people enjoy it hot as a tea or cold chilled. You can make it with barbecue sauce. You did that before. So.
Can you just spell it? Because we seem to have a confusion in the chat. I thought it was SORROW, but Marilyn said it is I put SOREL and she said, yes, that's correct. Never mind. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
So, in the Caribbean, they make this drink during Christmas time, during the holiday season, but you can enjoy it anytime, especially, I went to the Mary Lewis Academy in Jamaica States, and then I went to St. John. So we go on Jamaica Ave, the West Indian stores there. I miss New York a lot. So thanks again.
Still in the meeting.
Thank you.
Yes, 179th and Hillside. That was all me.
Yep.
You guys did a great job. Really, very informative.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Very
Yes. Good takeaways.
good. Yes.
You have a lovely kitchen.
That's the thing. Like in Florida, most of the houses are like the same. And I was like, I still stay true. So I was like, I need to find something that will remind me of New York. So I did like the brick in the kitchen and the wood countertops. New York is, I still have my 718 phone number all these years later. Still have the nameplate,
Mercedes, I'm formerly from East Elmhurst. Where were you?
So
What street?
98th Street, Butler Street, Ditmars.
I lived on Butler. I lived on Ditmars as well.
Between 27th and 29th Avenue.
Okay. All right, good.
No, that thing, knocking down all like the older homes, the mansion, and they're losing the character, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. We enjoyed you. We
Alright.
enjoyed you both. We really appreciate it.
Well, let's take the Israeli salad a little further.
One thing and then we'll get
Who's going to eat the plate?
Mhm.
This is the so the Israeli salad, add some lime juice to it, some cilantro, salt, some pepper,
Mhm.
and there you have nice Israeli salad,
or Ethiopian salad when we were researching.
or it can be a salsa if you want it to be.
Yeah. Again, like with the acid, it helps extract the flavors of the vegetables. So
And then a touch of oil on top.
Olive oil.
And there you have
yeah.
salsa, Israeli salad, Ethiopian salad, whichever you choose.
Thank you again. I don't want to keep you guys.
It was
Thank you.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
I
you.
don't know if you can see the comments, a lot of people are writing thank you, and they really appreciate it. One person said they can almost taste it all. So thank you again. It was a great presentation, and we'll make sure that the recording and the recipes that Mercedes and Phil shared are sent to everybody. So you'll have access to those as well.
And it's so good seeing you. Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thank you.
I want to see you in person.
Whenever you come to New York, let me know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank
When's the
you.
cookbook coming out?
All right. Thanks
Thank
again.
you. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Again, bye everybody. Thanks Mercedes, thanks Phil, thanks Gwen, thanks Rita.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Thank
And as
you.
ladies, as Rita said earlier, if anyone wants to discuss anything, feel free to stay around.
I'm gonna go, but thank you, everybody who made this happen tonight.
Oh,
I
yes,
appreciate it.
it was
Yes.
combined effort. Yes,
Great job. Great job.
thank you.